Hello, and welcome to the Ethanol Producer Magazine podcast. I am your host, Anna Simmet, Director of Content at BBI International. Today's episode is part of our panel preview series leading up to the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop, Sustainable Fuels Summit, Carbon Capture Summit, and Ethanol 101, all to be held in Omaha, Nebraska, June 9th through the 11th. And our guest today will be presenting at the Sustainable Fuels Summit. With us, we have Mariajose Parra, U.S. Biofuels Senior Market Reporter at S&P Global Commodity Insights. Mariajose, hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me here today.
It's our pleasure. So, Mariajose, you will be presenting on June 10th, as I said, at the Sustainable Fuel Summit on panel, Maximizing Ethanol's Value in a Changing Energy Landscape. And the title of your presentation is Current Cost Dynamics and Future Supply and Demand Projections for Ethanol to Jet Production. And I have no doubt that will be a crowded room during that panel. But to begin, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and S&P Global?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a market reporter at S&P Global. I'm part of the North American biofuel team. I mainly focus on renewable diesel, but I have experience with SAF, credits, and feedstocks. We also have other teams in Singapore, Brazil, and in UK. And prior to biofuels, I was 5 years in the petrochemical industry.
Okay, very good. Lots of experience then. So Mariajose, let's start a little more broadly. Can you tell us what role does used cooking oil play in low carbon fuel production?
Yeah, of course. So biofuel production has increased significantly over the past years. Specifically, renewable diesel production grew 23% from 2023 to 2024 to 3.2 billion gallons. In 2024, the predominant feedstock for biomass-based diesel production was soybean oil, accounting for approximately 35%, followed by UCO at 20% and tallow by 90%. So, used cooking oil serves as a crucial feedstock in the production of biomass-based diesel and sustainable aviation fuel. UCO-based fuels have a lower carbon intensity if you compare to those produced from virgin vegetable oils. And this characteristic makes them an attractive option for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the transportation sector. Additionally, UCO-derived fuels are eligible for higher credit allocations in programs such as the Low Carbon Fuel Standard and the Clean Fuel Production Credit, or 45Z, helping the economic viability. The conversion of UCO into renewable diesel and SAF is achieved through hydroprocessing. This process not only provides a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels, but also contributes to waste reduction by diverting used oils from landfills and sewage systems.
Okay, so UCO is in high demand. Are there emerging or other feedstocks that could compete in biofuel production? And then how do they compare in terms of sustainability?
Yeah, before addressing this question, it's important to consider two key factors. First, renewable diesel and SAF facilities possess the flexibility to utilize various feedstock based on availability, cost, and other factors. And two, the supply of UCO is limited. So we need the integration of other feedstocks to meet the growing demand for biofuel production. Now, several feedstock are being explored to supplement or potentially compete with UCO. We have the animal fats and tallow. These are increasingly utilized in renewable diesel production, particularly in the US, due to their availability and low carbon intensity. However, domestic tallow supply is limited, with significant imports coming right now from countries such as Brazil, Canada, Argentina, and Australia. And we also have the vegetable oils. The U.S. House Ways and Means Committee released a draft bill on May 12, sorry, to exclude indirect land use change from greenhouse gas emission calculation under the 45Z. If the indirect land use change is excluded, the carbon intensity for vegetable oils like soybean oil and canola oil could decrease, narrowing the gap with UCO and potentially reducing the credit advantage of UCO over these oils.
That's some great insight there. Mariajose, are there significant price differences for UCO between regions, like, say, the US, Europe, Asia?
This difference for UCO between regions are influenced by various factors, including policy changes, supply and demand dynamics, and regional mandates. So on the United States side, as of January 2025, UCO price in US were approximately 2 cents per pound higher than in North Asia. And this price differential has since widened to 11 cents per pound. The US market has experienced fluctuation in UCO prices influenced by policy changes such as the exclusion of imported UCO from the 45Z. As for Asia, China's decision to eliminate the 30% export tax rebate on UCO in December 2024 is leading to more supply being consumed domestically. By retaining more UCO within China, the government aimed to stabilize domestic supply, potentially preparing for future mandates on SAF and even other biofuel supportive measures. And finally, Europe. Europe imports most of its UCO, with China accounting for most than half of the volume. So the elimination of China's export tax rebate has led to increased UCO prices in Europe.
Okay, so the big question right now is, how are trading flows changing in 2025 due to uncertainties regarding credits and tariffs, or how might they?
Yeah, that's a great question. So trading flows of UCO are undergoing significant shifts in 2025, mainly due to a policy change and market uncertainties. China is the largest UCO exporter, having as the main destinations US, Europe, and Singapore. In Q1 2024, 47% of China's UCO exports were directed to the US and 22% to Europe. However, several developments in 2025 have altered those flows. We have, for example, the China's removal of the 30% export tax rebate, the US exclusion of imported UCO from the CFPC or 45C, and the imposition of additional tariff by the US on Chinese imports exceeding 100%, along with potential tariff on other exporters such as Indonesia and Malaysia, which are also UCO exporters to US. So the tariff raised new trade flows consideration for both biofuels and feedstock market participants, which will likely remain fluid for several months as the US administration works to reshape global trade. And as a result, Europe became the largest destination for China's UCO exports in Q1 2025, accounting for 46%, while the US share dropped to 23%. UCO imports to US were strong in Q1 2025, but are expected to decrease in the next months due to the mentioned tariffs. So these shifts underscore the dynamic nature of global UCO trade flows in response to evolving policy landscapes.
That's some excellent information and insight, Mariajose. I don't want to give too much away for your presentation, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, thank you so much for having me here. It was fun. And hope to see you all in the panel.
Yes. And I just want to thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and chatting with us today. And I look forward to seeing you in Omaha. And to our listeners, register for these events at fuelethanolworkshop.com. Producers get in free. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you there. Until next time.